Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And earlier this week, Xbox broke some news that they're delisting one of their most praised games over the last 10 years due to licensing issues. Now, right away, I want to go ahead and be clear about this. I don't really fault Xbox for this situation because this is actually a very common problem for this genre in general. But what's been really interesting about all this is that the reaction for this announcement has been quite intriguing to follow. So yeah, we're going to talk about all of that in just a moment, and then we're also going to talk about Astro, Elden Ring, and then also Square Enix. So we do actually have a jam-packed episode today. Make sure to stay tuned for all of that. Also, subscribe if you like this type of content. I know about 50% of my viewers still aren't subscribed, so go ahead and make sure to change that today. But yeah, let's just go and get right into this Xbox story. So earlier this week, Xbox announced that Forza Horizon 4 will be delisted from digital stores this December. This includes Xbox, the Windows Store, and also Steam. Now, what's really important to understand about this announcement, though, is that as long as you own a copy, whether that be digital or physical, you'll still be able to play Forza Horizon 4 long after it gets delisted. This will not impact people who owns the game. You can uninstall it and re-download it after it gets delisted, and you'll still be able to play it online and everything. So as soon as they announced this, I came on here and I told you all right away, if you're even slightly interested in Forza Horizon 4, you need to buy it before it's too late, especially over on Steam. The thing is that unlike Xbox, there's not a physical version for PC, which that's important to understand because once it gets delisted, there won't be another chance to buy it and play it legally on PC. Xbox, on the other hand, at the very least, will still have that physical version for newcomers that haven't already bought into Forza Horizon 4. But I will say this much, don't necessarily be surprised if those physical prices go up after it gets delisted. So, really even on Xbox, if you want that physical version, it might actually be smart to buy it sooner rather than later. I'm just going to go and throw that out there. I mean, I can't guarantee it one way or the other, but it really wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, there should be some incoming discounts for the digital Xbox version if you want to go in that direction instead, but that's what I really want to talk about here because that's what's happening over on Steam as we speak. Right now, until July 11th, you can actually get Forza Horizon 4 on Steam for a crazy good discount. The base game is going for just $12. I mean, that is a steal for this game because it is absolutely fantastic. Now, the deluxe edition, though, is $16, and then the ultimate edition, which includes a lot of extra content, is just $20. I mean, just to kind of put that into perspective, the ultimate edition usually goes for $100. And clearly, this discount combined with the delisting announcement has opened them up for a whole new wave of fans. Check this out. Before this announcement, Forza Horizon 4's peak high concurrent players was 40,000 back in April of 2021 when it first released on Steam. With this new announcement and discount, though, its player count suddenly dramatically shot up the Steam charts. It's currently in the top 25 most played games on Steam. It's currently at number 22, and it still seems to be climbing. It just hit a new peak high this past 24 hours with 73,000 players. That's a 60,000 player increase from where it was just 2 months ago. So that is a crazy good boost, and I'm really glad to see that because, once again, this really is a fantastic game. I cannot recommend it enough. I mean, personally, I'd rank it among the best racing games ever made, and to see so many more people buy it before it's too late and to see that for themselves, it's just a good thing to see. What's happening here, though, really is the exact reason why I've highlighted this now twice in my videos this past week. I want to let as many people know as I possibly can before it's too late. And the good thing is, it definitely seems like that news is spreading. Now, I will also say kudos to Xbox here just for giving players this discount. They are doing this the right way. Like I said earlier, it's not uncommon for racing games to be delisted. So at least they are letting people know well ahead of time, and they're giving them ample opportunity to get these games at fantastic discounts. These discounts really are a steal for what you're getting, just from a sheer amount of quality and also actually the amount of content that you're getting as well. So kudos to Xbox, and ironically, this is actually probably going to give Forza Horizon more fans going forward. This is actually better for its future installments because a lot more people are now trying it out than ever before. I want to hear from you all in the comments below, though. Let me know if you've played this game, and if you haven't, are you going to buy it before it's too late? Okay, so let's go and switch gears here and talk about PlayStation and their upcoming exclusive, Astro. Seems like a lot of people are really excited about this game, which does my heart a lot of good. I've been bragging on this series really since Astro back on the original PlayStation VR. I've pretty much since that point said that these games are among the best 3D platformers ever made, and I'm genuinely excited to see Team Asobi get an opportunity to make a full-fledged standard release for the PlayStation 5. I think they are going to knock it out of the park here. I think they're going to blow people away, and I think there is a potential chance that it could be a Game of the Year candidate. That's just how I feel currently. But one reason for that is because, by all indication, this is going to be a much more expansive entry than any of their previous games before, which were already fantastic. Its box art has now been spotted over in Japan, and assuming this information is correct, it claims that it'll be 66 gigabytes. Now, to just kind of put that into perspective, Astro's Playroom is only 11 gigabytes. Now, this is not the first time that we've heard that it's going to be much bigger in scope compared to their previous games. Apparently, it has like 80 levels, and it has a lot of other content as well. And I think what we're seeing here is that Astro is shaping up to be one of the biggest 3D platformers that we've seen probably since Psychonauts 2. So it's really nice to see Sony invest in a game like this. They've taken a lot of heat this generation for not taking enough chances on games like this. So I think this is actually really refreshing coming from PlayStation. And hopefully this game will do good enough to really prove to them that fans want these type of games. Now, we also got some really welcome news from Square Enix as well. In one of their reports earlier this year, they kind of suggested that they're moving away from smaller games. They reportedly canceled a lot of unannounced projects to better prioritize their bigger AAA games. Depending on who you ask, that might be disappointing, but they are now backtracking on that statement a bit. I guess this is actually probably more of a clarification. Their president in a statement just said that if we define indie games as casual, small to medium scale games, we are working hard on these too. I can't name specific titles at the moment, but our development pipeline does not only include major titles. Indie game development should not be ruled out. So, by all means, they're not exiting the market for smaller games. And the way I kind of look at this is that they're just cutting back on that type of stuff. Basically, they're not going to greenlight as many games as what they were before. And, we might see less games like the Diofield Chronicle and Harvestella. But at the same time, they still have Team Asano, and they specialize at making those more AA style of games, which they've had a lot of success with. Titles like Live Alive HD, Octopath Traveler, and Bravely Default. Those are very good games, and they've had success with them in the past. So I imagine Team Asano will have more games like that in store. And this is also good news if you're hoping for more entries in those franchises. If you think about it, even Dragon Quest HD 2D could be considered a smaller scale game for Square Enix. So I think what they're ultimately trying to do is that they're just trying to raise the bar for what games they greenlight. They probably will rely more on established franchises, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't have smaller games in the mix as well. Now, one last thing before we go, and this is just so impressive. It's no secret that Elden Ring is one of the single most successful games this generation, selling more than 25 million copies worldwide. Absolutely incredible. So much for the narrative that they need an easy mode to be successful. I'm just going to throw that out there. But now here we are, and Shadow of the Erdtree is finally here. This is probably one of the most anticipated expansions ever made. And the early numbers really prove that. In just 3 days, it's already sold 5 million units. That is a really impressive return rate, and especially when you start to realize what's actually required to play the expansion. Just to play it, you have to beat Radon, you have to get to Mogwin Palace, and defeat Mog, Lord of Blood. I platinumed this game, and I can tell you firsthand, these are not easy bosses, and Mog is actually an optional boss on top of that. So to see 5 million in Shadow of the Erdtree, I think that just kind of goes to show you how good this game is. There's so many games out there that has a low completion rate. But here we have Elden Ring, which is known as this, very difficult game, and players are willingly going through all of these optional bosses because it's just that much fun. For that matter, Shadow of the Erdtree doesn't even have trophies, which is not really an uncommon thing for FromSoft's DLC, but I think that just kind of shows you something about this community. They don't need all the extra stuff. The Souls community just craves that challenge and that experience that only FromSoft can consistently give its fans. So just big congrats to From Software. Elden Ring is such a refreshing game in today's age, and in my opinion, I still rank it as the best game this generation. If you disagree, you're just wrong. No, I'm joking, but I tell you what. Tell me what your favorite game is this generation. I want to hear that in the comments below. I do expect vastly different answers. My favorite is probably going to be Elden Ring, but yours is probably going to be a lot different. But let me hear your favorite game in the comments below. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode. Go enjoy your weekend, and until next time, peace out.